Welcome to the Career Advantage Show, where we help you reclaim your career power and design your working life on your terms. I'm Tony Pisanelli, and each week I sit down with leaders who have faced career-defining moments, such as a devastating job loss, burnout, stagnation, or even workplace harassment, and been able to turn these difficult circumstances into powerful and greater opportunities. Right. On this morning's Career Advantage show, my special guest is Jodie Finnan. Welcome, Jodi.
Thank you. Lovely to be here, Tony.
Thank you. Jodi, you describe yourself as the business weapon and also a person who wanted not only to start her own business, but wanted freedom. Can you share with our listeners that a little bit into the background in terms of how that all came about?
Yeah, absolutely. So I was back in the day a executive assistant to some high-profile CEOs. So back in the UK, I was chief of staff to Jamie Oliver and his team. And then when I first arrived in Australia, I was working for James Packer as his EA and chief of staff. And even though that gave me great clarity into how high profile people actually get really structured and organized and make their business go from strength to strength, it also gave me, it just gave me a sense of knowing that I was capable of more. And I'm one of these individuals that, sometimes don't like being told what to do. So, starting my own business seemed the best opportunity and route for me to go down. And as I say to all my clients, because I help businesses now get ahead, as I say to all my clients, there's no perfect moment. The key is just starting, and then you can fine tune everything as you go along. A lot of people wait for perfection, but there's no such perfect time. People are just scared of failure. But the failure is generally just not getting started. So you really need to just take the ball by the horns, start and fine tune it as you go along. And I didn't just want to create a job, I wanted to create freedom. So with my business now, I can take my laptop. I travel solo to many places on the globe. And yeah, it's a freedom. So I'm working under my conditions and I've never looked back since.
Jodi, it's interesting, as you mentioned, the likes of Jamie Packer, they would intimidate most people. How did you go about your day in terms of interacting with the likes of the Jamie Packers of this world?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big people person and networker, and it's funny that you say intimidating because he actually isn't. It's actually people below him who think that, they've got some form of power because of who they work for, who try and put that power trip on you. James is lovely to work with, and he actually had a team of there was 5 EAs, and we all had our different areas and people that we managed and looked after. So it was a really good sort of team community feel. But again, you were working for someone else. And essentially it was, even though I'm very proactive in everything that I do, there still are ways you need to be compliant when you work for someone else, and it doesn't give you the freedom that you desire.
What would have been one important piece of feedback that James Packer would have given you along the journey, Jodi?
Don't sweat the small stuff. Absolutely. There are so many people that really sweat the small stuff. I'm very similar in James Packer in terms of I know I'm always going to get the result for myself and my clients if I set out to do something. Some people are very, very structured and processed. You don't need to be. That's the best piece of advice that I can give that works for me.
All right. Another catch cry or a phrase that you use is you're someone that makes things happen.
Yes.
Okay. Do you want to share a story where maybe you've gone into someone's business and they were stalled and they were stuck and they just couldn't get past something and you
Yeah.
actually helped them move forward?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, that's essentially what my business framework is all about. Seeing when people are stuck in a business, they don't necessarily see the gaps that I see from an outsider. And every business has a lot of roadblocks and they're stuck in certain things. So that's my superpower, coming into businesses and seeing things that they don't. I can give you an example. I worked for an amazing activewear brand, which has now gone gangbusters across the globe. But it was actually, unless you have an experience for your clients or customers that is ungoogleable. For example, anyone can copy your business model. What they can't copy is how you make your customers feel. So before any sales marketing or anything that you want to fine tune there, it's really the customer experience that needs to be number one of your priority. And so, I came in and was really helping people identify something that no one else was doing. For every piece of activewear that we were sending out, we sent a personal note from the CEO and the why that she was doing what she was doing. People want to relate. People buy from people and not just a business. So there was a handwritten note that we got duplicated that went out with every purchase. And that really resonated with a lot of customers that no one else was doing.
Okay, yes. I see a lot of small business owners, Jodi, who don't have sustainable businesses. And I always pinpoint it to one reason, one important factor. They treat their customers as a one-off transaction and not as an experience that they give them that can then take them on a journey and then help them sustain their own business long term and also become a source of referrals. Is that a fair assessment from where you're sitting?
Absolutely. And I've worked with a range of small businesses, entrepreneurs, businesses that have been established for many, many years. And it's a common denominator. For another example, whereas I'm not going to obviously name no names, but it was a marketing agency and they were actually just more concerned about numbers and getting clients through the doors. But it's all about attracting and retaining those clients, and I know the customer journey for them wasn't one that was great, but they were more concerned about getting more clients on their books. It looks great if you've got, all these clients, but that's actually not true. You really need to providing them with a top level of service so that they stick with you and talk about you to their friends, family, and other potential clients.
Okay. So, Jodi, clearly you apply that principle to your own business, obviously.
Yeah.
Now, another challenges that coaches and consultants have in their business is actually generating a constant flow of leads into their business. Yeah. What's your secret to being able to achieve that in your business?
It's probably reflecting back to what I just said. Unless you're doing a good job, people aren't going to refer you. And I'm in the great position that every client that I've had in my 10 years actually has been on referral. I don't advertise. I mean, obviously I've got my website, but I'm in that fortunate position. At the moment, there's another thing as well, whereas they say, unless you can, step out of your business and it can still run without you, you don't have a business, you have a job. So I'm in again, it could be a fortunate position, whereas people are paying, I do have a team. But people kind of pay the premium for me in my direction. But I'm working at the moment, which I find quite exciting, to be able to step away from the business and have it run without me. So that's something to bear in mind. Unless you can step out of whatever journey you pursue, you don't have a business, you have a job.
Yes, I always go back to what Michael Gerber said, who wrote the E-Myth series of books. You're supposed to work on your business, not just in your business. And that's exactly what you're doing by the sound of it.
Yeah, totally. I actually blocked my diary out. If you saw, I'm an organised person, I like to think, but my diary is literally 3 days in the business, 2 days on the business, and I do that without fail.
So, Jodi, another thing that I think coaches and consultants and small business owners need to consider as part of their business is the importance of having a network around them. Would you say that along your journey, you've put that solid base into position
Yeah,
as well?
absolutely. And it's funny how I look back at things because I've always been a big traveler, hence why I wanted to start this business so I could travel and work. But I look back at some of the opportunities and events across the years that I have been invited to, and it really pains me because, I'd be in these very high-powered events, and you make the polite introduction of, "Hey, how are you? What do you do?" I didn't really care back then, And now when I ask that question, I really care what you do. I really care what your roadblocks are. I really care about how we can collaborate, who I know that maybe I could introduce you to help you along the way, and vice versa. So it's a completely different ballgame when you run your own business in asking that question.
So, for example, would you have a Rolodex of people like James Packer still in your contact
Oh,
list? Would you
absolutely.
still?
I've got my little black book.
Okay.
Totally.
Because a lot of coaches think, oh, I really don't need that person until I need them. Well, you actually should be nurturing that relationship all the way through.
Absolutely. And it's one of those things I say to clients as well. So many people are trying to put funnels into place to try and get new leads and new clients. But in essence, think of all the people that you've been in talks with over the years. Have you revisited those clients? There's so many people that, over the last 10 years, I don't actually need, because some people haven't been ready. Some people, unless you're nurturing that old lead system and that old network, you're probably missing out on a gold mine.
Do you belong to a lot of networks, Jodie?
Yeah, I actually yesterday just joined. I'm a member of CUB. I yesterday just joined the Pillars as well, which I'm really excited about because I got the tour yesterday and it was fantastic. So I've actually just joined that network. Yeah, there's lots of events. I'm off to an event tonight by a network called BOA, which is for a lot of entrepreneurs and business owners, and a lot of brands there attend, and they're great mentors, and we learn from them a lot.
Okay. All right, Jodie, as we wrap this conversation up, a question that I ask most of my guests,
Yeah.
if you were to go back in time and speak to Jodie 20 years ago,
Yeah.
based on what you've learnt, the experiences you've had, the people you've met along the way, what's the number one piece of advice you would give to a younger Jodie?
I would give this advice to younger Jodi. Do not do not care what anyone thinks of you. It's what you think of yourself. As long as you're moving forward every day and making better decisions, it doesn't matter what anyone thinks of you, Just go forth and believe in yourself.
Perfect. That is a brilliant piece of wisdom. Thank you,
Yeah,
Jodie, and thank you for
you're
being on the
welcome.
show.
Thank you, Tony.
Thanks for tuning into the Career Advantage Show. Visit thecareeradvantage.show to subscribe and claim your free Career Confidential Toolkit. If you've enjoyed today's episode, I'd truly appreciate a 5-star review on your favourite podcast app. And don't forget to share it with your friends and colleagues who might need a little career inspiration.